Hello, my name is George Pendergrass, and I am the Director of Multicultural Enrichment here at Abilene Christian University. Okay, let's see. This poem, this song, this book, it has something about it that seems to speak to the average, the common man, and I think it is the fact that it is possessive. It says, the country is not only great, but it's my country. It's my contribution. It's my America. And I hope that's what comes across when people hear it. I'd like to tell you about my association with My America, how I came to be connected to this whole concept. Well, it all started with my meeting at the Cultural Affairs Council. I try to keep a connection with the city and stay in touch with the city so that our young people can get involved in the city, as well as bringing the city into what we do here at Abilene Christian University. And on one of the meetings with Lynn Barnett, who is the executive director of the Cultural Affairs Council, she said, "I'd like you to meet Victoria Spangler." And I think she asked me to meet Victoria because Victoria usually deals with artistic things, usually deals with artists. And so she brought me in to see Victoria Spangler. And Victoria, finding out about my background, because my background, I've been a professional musician, a motivational speaker, and an actor. And Victoria, when she found out about my background, said, "I'd like to talk to you about a program we have here in Abilene called Young Audiences of Abilene." And this particular program takes performing artists that can teach and takes them into the schools and teaches children through art forms. So I thought, oh, this is great. We had a program similar to that in Nashville, Tennessee called Art Smart. Well, I was very excited about it and said I'd be glad to be a part of that. And so she said, well, one of the artists that we're featuring next semester will be Ashley Bryan. And she said, "I'd like to tell you all about him." I said, "Gee, I'd love to learn about who this individual is." And she started telling me a little bit about him, and it was fascinating. But I said, "Can you tell me more?" She said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll bring you over to the Nickel, which is a children's museum where we bring live artists and feature their art at the museum." Well, she said, "I'll bring you over to the museum. You can meet Debbie, the executive director, as well as Sujata. And they can give you more information about Ashley." Well, I went, and they gave me a bunch of his books and said, "Here, read up on him and see what kind of stuff he does." And as I began to do that, I was reading through a lot of his material and just totally fascinated. He's an artist. He is a writer, a poet. I was just a sculptor. I was totally fascinated by his life. And as I began to read through these books, I ran across this one book called My America. And beyond having an interesting title, it caught my attention because it was a collaborative work between both Ashley and Jan Spivey Gilchrist. Well, it was originally a poem, I'm assuming, and they illustrated the poem. And the book is just fascinating, so I began to read it over and over, reading the poem over and over and over, till I could recite it. And as I began to recite it, a melody came to me. And that doesn't often happen to me, but I said, "Boy, since it's here, I may as well do something with it. So I pulled out my guitar and I started strumming that particular melody, and sure enough, I finished the song within a couple of hours, which is another strange phenomenon. My wife and my son actually were in the house when I was, and I was singing it, and they were kind of cracking up, laughing at me. But that's the way it happens around our home. Anyway, I wrote the song. I went back to Debbie and to Victoria, well, primarily to Victoria, and I said, Victoria, I don't exactly know what you want me to do for the children, but I'm willing to do whatever kind of artistic things I can do, be it acting, be it music, singing, be it poetry. I don't really know. I said, but as I was reading through Ashley's material, I ran across this one particular book called My America, and a melody came to me, so I wrote a song. She said, wow, well, let me hear the song. So I played the song for her, and she was struck by it. Thought, wow, that's really good. Can you use that particular song in doing your presentations? And I thought, sure. And she said, well, before you start doing your presentations, Ashley is going to come to town. Would you sing that particular song at his reception? And I thought, I'd love to, because I'd love to meet Ashley. I was so fascinated by his life. And sure enough, I did. I performed the song, and he, too, was apparently moved by the song, because he went back and he told Jan Spivey Gilchrist about a dream I shared with him. I said, I'd love to see this song produced fully and put in a CD in the back of the books. And he told Jan about it, and she called the Nickel looking for me. The Nickel called me and said, get in touch with her. I called her, and she seemed very fascinated by the concept. And so she said, you think you could let me hear the song? And I said, sure. So I sent her an MP3 of the song, which really, the song was not in a form that I was really too excited about, but I said, sure. Well, she calls me back, and apparently she was very moved by the song, which in turn really moved me. And the song's kind of taken on its own life, but it just seems to be something special about this song. And I am actually pretty happy to be a part of it. My America. I also wanted to tell you about this this individual I met by the name of Cornelius Mims. He's taken on an interesting role in my life, and that is, this individual's been involved in the music industry for many years, at least 25 or more years, working out of California. I heard about him from a music instructor here at Abilene Christian University, and he asked me to go and try to meet him. So I called him. Sure enough, we set up a meeting, and we clicked immediately. Well, push comes to shove, we're talking. I'm trying to get him connected to Abilene Christian University because his skills can help our kids get involved in the music industry. We have so many that want to do that, and I want to figure out a practical way to help them to do that. Well, that's what our connection was. And in talking about his life and what he's doing, he told me that he's in the process of working on producing the music for a film score that chronicles the road to the White House, chronicles the entire race of Senator Obama from the time he decided to run for president up until this present day. He starts mentioning these concepts about America, and I thought, well, I recently wrote a song that deals with that concept. And he says, nah, you're kidding me. So I said, yeah. He said, well, let me listen to it. Well, being a little shy. I said, it's not really in a form that I would, present it. He said, just let me listen to it. He listened to it, and he too was struck by it immediately. And, me, I'm always apprehensive of artists because we're so dramatic. Oh, it's wonderful, it's great, it's wonderful. I'm like, well, I'm glad you like it, but I don't know if it's all that. But he genuinely seemed to be emotionally moved by the song.